all sorry about this incident, Cassie.
It's Carrie!
Carrie is a psychological thriller type of horror movie based on the successful novel Carrie by Stephen King. This 1976 rendition is directed by Brian De Palma and stars Sissy Spacek as Carrie, a 17-year-old girl who was born with telekinetic powers. Carrie was born in a strict religious household where her parents force her into Christianity even though she feels no connection to the religion at all. Her whole life was filled with physical abuse from her mother and mental and verbal abuse by her peers at school. Carrie was forced to go through the pain alone, and these caused the buildup of frustration that she had for constantly being the victim. The only time Carrie wasn't alone was when Tommy Ross asked her to his senior prom, which she was forced to do by his girlfriend Sue Snell after she, along with the other girls, bullied Carrie in the showers for having her first period. The guilt that Sue had drove her to want to make Carrie feel more included, and so she convinced her popular and outgoing boyfriend Tommy to bring Carrie to prom. At the dance, Carrie ended up enjoying her time and even won the title of prom queen. Carrie's senior prom was magical until Chris Hargensen, the most popular bully, pours a bucket of pig's blood on her to embarrass her once again. Once this happened, all the students, including the staff, laughed at the sight of the blood-covered girl. And this is where Carrie released her built-up emotions out for everybody to see using her telekinetic abilities. The climax of the film starts right at this moment, as Carrie uses her powers to mentally close and lock all of the doors of the gym, changing the lighting to dark red and controlling the fire hose to spray everywhere. The students were locked in for a brief moment before she opened up some slightly, but some students and teachers were killed by her telekinetic abilities. Carrie was pushing them around and getting some electrocuted because they touched the electric objects while the entire gym was wet from the fire hose. This scene ends with Carrie slowly walking through the school gym that is on fire while students are running out for their lives. The reason for choosing this scene to analyze is because of the missing holes in the plot due to the decisions by the director Brian De Palma. By comparing the film to the Stephen King book, there is a clear difference as the film does not show the full potential of Carrie's powers or her true feelings of anger and frustration. Brian De Palma does not include the part where Carrie kills all of the people and spares nobody by creating a large fire that caused an oil tank to explode, which killed all of the students stuck inside the school gym. Carrie's fired up emotions that were built up from all the years of bullying from these students made her want to get all of them, meaning that she wants to hurt all of those that hurt her. Missing her true feelings and large buildup of emotions caused a decrease in the plot's significance because it is not as powerful as written in the novel. Carrie in the book says that it was time to teach them a lesson after all of the years of bullying, and so there was an intense scene of turning on the sprinkler system and closing all of the doors to allow her to easily trap all of the students and staff to electrocute them and cause the gas tank to set on fire. This terrifying scene clearly shows how her revenge was full of anger and suppressed feelings that were dying to be released, but in the movie the scene was portrayed differently. There wasn't as much waterfall, and more students were able to escape and live, which means that not as many students or staff died. The plot significance decreased because Carrie's true feelings of frustration she had towards all of her peers were not as powerful because the director didn't want to include more violent deaths or fire in the film. The rest of the emotions that Carrie had for the others were hidden again, while in the book it was all released at once so she can be at ease again. Another reason why this scene was chosen is because there's a missing section where Carrie walks to town and sets gas stations on fire, which spread to other buildings and resulting in a larger portion of the town in flames. This missing scene shows the higher level of anger released and the full potential of Carrie's telekinetic abilities, and so by removing this vital moment, the plot is not as significant as it is in the novel. The movie plot is not as developed because of the missing emotions that Carrie never revealed out and her real potential of her abilities. The prom horror scene took place at night in her high school gymnasium, decked out with stars and sparkles for the senior prom. The first thing that struck Carrie when she walked in was glamour, which was shown in the film with the prom decorations. The setting does not enhance the plot significance, but it is accurate to the book as there are sparkly prom decorations around the gym. The soundtrack in the background of the scene is School in Flames, composed by Pino Donaggio. The song has electric static and fuzzing sounds with a bass string instrument playing long tones, and this creates a spooky and suspenseful atmosphere for the audience. It is not too loud and there's not much timbre, so it doesn't overpower the screaming of the people and the chaos in the scene. The soft background music chosen by the director is effective for the audience to focus more on what's happening in the scene, but at the same time enhancing the suspense. The woman playing Carrie is Sissy Spacek, and she did a great job in interpreting her in the film with her physical appearance and her amazing acting. Stephen King describes Carrie as a girl that is not the most beautiful but still has her own charms. This makes Sissy a good choice for the main actress of the movie as her facial expressions and body language throughout the entire film made her look a little unpleasing. Although the book describes Carrie as a chunky girl with pimples on her neck and back, and Sissy is the opposite as she is very skinny and has no pimples, she still has her flaws with her many freckles as a substitute. The choice of having Sissy Spacek star as Carrie is effective because her facial expressions create a scary atmosphere, especially after the pig's blood poured onto her and she stared at the students. Stephen King described this as the pop-eyed look, and Sissy's accurate impression of this allowed the audience to be more interested in the film. The scary facial expression of Carrie appeals to the horror movie lovers, and so it is an effective choice to have Sissy Spacek star as Carrie. The novel described the girls at prom with beautiful shadows rustled about in chiffon, lace, silk, and satin, which was represented accurately as all the girls' dresses had these materials. Even though the wardrobes of the characters are as what they are described as in the novel, it does not enhance the actual plot significance of Carrie's outrage. A major prop used in this scene was the pig's blood, which was a thin, dark red liquid. This was not as effective as real blood is thicker, and so this makes the scene look less realistic and scary. The lighting of the scene changed to a dark red in the entire gymnasium, and this emphasized the color of the blood on Carrie, making her look more bloody and scary. The red lighting represents evil and darkness, which was also shown in the scene with the murder and deaths, and so the light intensifies Carrie's dark thoughts. In the novel, the lighting never changed to this dark red color. By adding this additional factor into the scene, it is effective in making Carrie's evil energy more powerful to create a scarier scene as well as to show her true feelings of anger. This also appeals to the horror movie fanatics as it makes the film scarier to see Carrie's evil and dark feelings expressed. Throughout the entire scene, the editing transitions were all jump cuts to show the harshness of the actions. All of the murders and Carrie's other doings happened very quickly and violently, and so these harsh jump cuts are effective in emphasizing the terror and chaos. The most effective angle of this scene was where Carrie is facing the gym from the stage, looking at the people running around and freaking out while she remains still and calm. This is strong as it shows that she does not care about their fear and enjoys watching them suffer, which enhances the main message of the scene that Carrie is releasing all of her built-up emotions as revenge to her bullies. The literary theories that connect to the scene the best are Marxism and Jungian, because all of the emotions and feelings that released Carrie's shadow were due to the disruption of the social structure of education. All of the staff members of the school witnessed the blood pour onto Carrie, and none of them went up to help her clean up or take her away from the laughing students. Instead, they laughed along with the other students, which caused Carrie to feel alone and embarrassed, and this infuriated her shadow as she was hurt again by her peers. Teachers should help their students when they are in need or hurt, and so the teachers at the prom were supposed to comfort or stop the other students from laughing at Carrie. The supervisors were being irresponsible and allowed the students to continue hurting Carrie, which triggered her shadow to appear. The need for revenge in order to prevent getting hurt anymore is her shadow's intentions after her psyche was influenced to be depressed and hurt by all of her peers. There are missing sections in this scene that would have enhanced the plot and affected the audience better. Carrie in the novel kept all of the students inside of the gym to kill them all, but in the film, she lets a lot of the students escape the gym during the terror. With this, the audience believes that Carrie is not trying to kill everybody and her revenge to her bullies is weak. To intensify Carrie's revenge, the director would have kept all of the students contained in the gymnasium to die, so that the audience can truly see the degree to which Carrie will go for revenge after all of the years of being a victim of bullying. Unfortunately, the director would not have been able to include the electrocution or other violent deaths of all of the students and teachers because that would require computer-generated imagery, or CGI, which was not used in the film industry until the early 80s. Also, the decision to remove all of the other violent deaths may be because the director wanted the film to attract more to the psychological thriller lovers rather than the gory and horror audience. Another scene that was removed was where Carrie walks around the town setting gas stations on fire to spread all over. The audience misses her releasing all of the built-up anger that she contained inside of her onto other objects, and so they only see that she has limited or reserved anger, not showing her true emotions or full potential of her telekinetic abilities. Again, the director would not have been able to recreate this scene due to the limited access to CGI effects. They also couldn't have done this because at the time they would have to create their own fire, and so they would have required a lot of materials and time to set large buildings on fire. It would have been too dangerous and costly to do, and so the director would not have been able to recreate Carrie setting the town on fire. Overall, Brian De Palma did well on recreating Stephen King's words into real life by creating the same psychological horror in the book, but the only problem with it is that the audience does not see how powerful and emotional Carrie truly is.